A very timely podcast as the news of this week, and as I shoot this podcast, we are in the last week of July 2021. Can the government force you to get vaccinated? This is coming up. You're hearing all kinds of news about the government forcing federal employees and federal contractors to get the vaccine. Well, can the government do that? If you listen to all of the news outlets, or most of them at least, the answer is yes, without a doubt. But let's look at that. Is that really true? Hey! Now, first I will say, the point of this podcast is not for me to pass judgment on anyone. I will tell you that I personally did get the vaccine. I will also tell you that I do not now wear a mask unless I am forced to, because in my view, that was the very point of the vaccine. But I do understand other people who see the world differently than I do. And my point is that America is a great place and people can make these kinds of decisions. Having said that, if you look at the legalities of this issue, the whole question of whether the government can force someone to get the vaccine or not, particularly if it pertains to that person's federal job, is based on danger. Danger is a very important factor in any litigation. Juries will look to what side had the danger. If there's a reason that there was a huge danger and the employer couldn't do anything except for this to alleviate that danger, generally, if the case even makes it to a jury, the danger is going to be the overriding factor in that analysis. Now, we would all agree, I hope we would all agree, that the flu shot cannot be forced. And the reason for that is the flu shot is not Ebola. Okay, I think we would agree also that Ebola probably could be forced. I mean, Ebola is this type of thing where there's a 98 or 99% chance of dying for anyone who gets Ebola. And it's spread very, very quickly. Some kinds of Ebola viruses are spread through contact. Some are airborne. We've all seen the movies about this. We've all heard about Ebola outbreaks in Africa and other parts of the world. If Ebola hit this country, yes, the government would say, screw your right to privacy. Whoever does not get the Ebola vaccine, we're not going to have a country. Now, I think we would all agree that the coronavirus, or now the Delta variant of that, is neither the flu nor is it Ebola. It is somewhere in the middle. So the question is going to be that a court is going to have to wrestle with is, if someone gets this coronavirus, what percent of those people will die? Now, a typical fact pattern in this situation, it could be something like this. You work for the USDA as an analyst, and you don't get the vaccine, and you don't want it. You're now told by the federal government, an executive order, you must get it to keep your job. How is a court going to look at that? First question is going to be, why don't you want it? If you have an allergic reaction to it, which there are people that do, or if you have a religious objection to it. That's a different category, and the court may cut you some more slack and be a little bit more flexible than it otherwise would. Then there's the group of people who won't get it because they don't trust the government. They don't believe in vaccines, whatever it is. And again, I don't judge these people. It's simply they are who they are, and the question is, how does the law regard them if you're one of those people? What are your rights? The first thing that I would do as a lawyer, if someone came to my office with that fact pattern, is determine, can this job be done through teleworking? That's number one. Many jobs can be, as we've seen in the coronavirus era. Many, many jobs, and I talked about this on a previous podcast, the Coleman case, which was the epitome of this, where Mr. Coleman was told he had to come in. And then the coronavirus hit, and he was told he must work at home. Everybody had a good laugh about that, and the government looked like idiots. All right, so can the job be done through teleworking? If the answer to that is yes, or even no, we look to, did the employer grant this telework, full-time telework, to other people at the workplace? And if the employer did and did not grant it to you, that could be a problem. You could have a discrimination case. If you're disabled, you could have a reasonable accommodation case. So that's one category that I would look to. And then if I heard that they forced everyone to come into the office, which I highly doubt, certainly at federal agencies, because I cannot believe that every single federal employee now is forced to come into the office. But assuming they did that, okay, now the court is going to look at certain fundamental rights that somebody has. The right to privacy. The whole abortion is based on the right to privacy. Hey! That case of Roe v. Wade, why is abortion within the first trimester a fundamental right? Because of the implicit right to privacy in the Constitution of the United States. So that is going to be on one side of the ledger. To what extent does someone have that right to privacy versus threatening others? That's a question. Okay, then we look to, what is that threat? These are the questions that the court is going to have to wrestle with. Hey! Now, it would seem from the Obamacare cases that the government could impose a tax on someone who doesn't get the vaccine. That would seem to be allowed. I don't know if the government's going to do that, or they haven't thought of that yet. In any event, there are issues of, can the threat be avoided? That would certainly be argued, that someone else would have the vaccine. So whoever I infect, that person had the right to get the vaccine, so there's no real danger. Then there's the issue of danger to children. If someone has little kids at their house and they're a carrier of the coronavirus, there's a danger there. What would be argued is there's no real danger to kids. Very few kids die because of coronavirus. These are all of the issues that are going to be litigated probably in the next year or two on this very serious issue. Hey! So what do you do? My strong recommendation would be, if you are one of these people in this situation, each case is going to be a little different. There's not going to be one law for everyone, and each situation is going to be different. Hey! Our law firm is right at the cutting edge of this, of seeing what the issues are, how to best argue, articulate a litigation plan, develop a litigation plan, and give you the best chance of success. We live in a totally different era in the year 2021 than we have even 5 years ago. I would argue even 3 years ago. And it's important to know your rights and to fight for them. Call our office. We can help you. We also invite you to subscribe to our podcasts and our channel.